So the article I chose to do my project on is called Six Traits That Lead to Criminal Behavior by John Hegger. A criminal act occurs when there is a motive, a means, and an opportunity. And criminal behaviors that lead offenders to relapse in crime are often called risk factors or criminogenic needs. These needs are traits associated with criminal behavior and thinking, and it is thought that criminal behavior can be traced back through like your biology and your genetics, like where you come from. Biological risk factors can be defined as anything that has a negative impact on a child from conception to birth. Criminal behavior is something that can be broken down and identified as early as conception, just based on like who your parents are and what they like have done, how they think. Parents genetically pass on prior behavior, and if the parent possesses criminogenic needs, then they could pass that on to their child without even realizing it. So genes influence like a lot of different aspects on, a child's life. It influences how parents are bringing up their children. If they weren't parented well themselves, they might not know how to really parent, and that could lead them to be, neglectful and not really meaning to, but they just don't know better. Genes also define an individual's ability to control temperament, impulsivity. They can give you low self-esteem and a lack of empathy. All of these things just are not good, right? They can lead to criminal behaviors. Specifically, the lack of empathy and impulsivity. If you don't know what you're doing is bad, but you are impulsive to act, that can be not a good combination. When you look at a family, right, you can see like the physical resemblance in between people. So it would make sense that there is some sort of like mental or psychological similarities as well. Like you can tell like if people are related, right? Just even by how they talk, you could tell that, they're the same on some level mentally. So yeah, you can pass that on to your children without even realizing it. And there are a lot of people aware of their criminal behaviors that do want to change. They just don't know how. They've never been given help to get better or to be given a chance to get better. And to help reform someone from criminal tendencies, you must first assess the individual's risk of relapse by using a validated assessment tool. This tool calculates the likelihood an individual will commit an additional crime based on a bunch of factors such as prior criminal history, marriage status, age, and then the history of drug and alcohol abuse, I think, is a really big one. As well as employment and educational history, just how educated are they, did they even finish high school, or are they, well educated and went on and got a degree in higher education, as well as their financial status. Their financial status, I think, is another big one, just because if someone's down on their luck, I feel like they would be more likely to commit a crime. And not necessarily even one that they would want to, but they feel they have to. The second part to help to reform someone is to identify their criminogenic needs. One study found that a person could possess up to 8 traits that lead to criminal behavior, but the article that I read focused on 6. So the first one is antisocial values. This is also known as criminal thinking, and it includes the belief that their criminal behavior was justified. So they often will blame others for their negative behavior and show a lack of remorse. So they don't really understand why they're in trouble, or they just don't care. Another trait would be criminal peers. Having peers that participate in criminal activities, you're going to be more likely to participate with them, right? Because you want to fit in, or you want to be cool, or any stuff like that. You just don't want to be an outcast from your group of friends. So you're going to do what they do, right? Like, it makes sense. Antisocial personality. So this includes atypical behavior conducted prior to age 15, is how they diagnose that. So, like, if you guys are like, not you guys, but if the child is running away, skipping school, fighting, they, like, have access to weapons, lying, stealing, and then damage to animals or property. All of that stuff before age 15 can signal like an antisocial personality. Another trait would be a dysfunctional family. This is one of the most common traits. It includes a lack of family support. The family lacks the ability to problem solve, and they cannot communicate effectively. Also, they are most likely to be involved in criminal activity. The next one is low self-control. So they're not able to control their temperament and impulsivity. They'll often do things they didn't plan, and they don't think before doing things, so they're more likely to commit a crime because of that. The most common one, or another more common one, is substance abuse. So the use of substance abuse will significantly affect one's ability to engage in criminal activities. Substance abuse is just it's a pretty big trait. So in the book Gift of Fear, in chapter 7, Imperfect Strangers, the author talks about traits of people who are psychopaths or without conscience. They don't have a conscience. And a lot of them have the same traits as people who have criminalistic behaviors. These traits in both cases, I think, are helpful in predicting future situations where potential crimes could occur. And then my 3 questions are, do you know anyone in your life who has these traits? Do you think it is possible to identify and correct criminalistic behavior early, like in childhood? And do you think it is possible to reform all people who want to change? That's it. Thanks.